Hey everybody, thanks for checking in with Out on a Limb with Gabby Allen. I am Gabby Allen. Is it Tuesday? I wanted to come on real quick and kind of do different kinds of publishing, I guess, would be the best way to go about that. Not really sure what's going on with the crackling look over here, but I am hearing that most people are just listening to these, so I'm not going to worry too much about it at the moment. We have the microphone and apparently, hello. So, anyway, publishing. There are many different ways to go about getting your book out into the world. There are many different ways of um, having your book, I guess would be the way. That's really not the way I want to put it, but basically there are many different forms, I guess, of books. So you have ebooks, you have print books, you have a dog running around in the back corner over here. It is what it is. That's Princess. If you see her, she's a little white Bichon Maltese, who will be 16 years old in October. And I guess Xavier is running around back there too. He's the one with the bigger tail, and he is a Bichon Maltese Cocker Spaniel, and he will be 15 in October. So my babies are aging. Anyway, so publishing. You can do ebook, you can do print book, as I said, and there are a couple different sizes of print books. You can do mass market. They are introducing recently mass market, which are slightly bigger but not quite trade paperback. And then you have hardcover versus paperback. You also have audiobooks, which you can find on Audible, a lot of different options there too. And so then we get into places to publish. So traditional publishing, Big Five, as well as some other big publishers, but are not the Big Five, I guess. And I think kind of technically it's Big Four now because everybody keeps buying everybody else. And then smaller publishers. And then you also have self-publishing or independent publishing, as some people call it. There is vanity publishing either. I will tell you that I am not a big fan of vanity publishing. I think you, at least from my experience in looking around, and again, this is all my experience, so I'm not saying you can't do it. I just would recommend that you make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. When I had looked into that years ago, you paid out a lot of money, and they didn't always do much more than edit your book, which I think now in the self-publishing / independent publishing market, there are plenty of people that are editors, that are freelance editors, that you could do a freelance editor, a freelance cover artist, a freelance formatter, and probably pay less and have more control over the finished product than through a vanity publisher. If anybody finds that it's different now, and I'm just not up on the times because it's not something that's in my toolbox, then hit me up in the comments and tell me what I don't know. I'm fine with that. So let's start with self-publishing, independent publishing. So as I was saying, you are then in control of pretty much everything that goes into this book. You would write your own blurb. You would, blurb is the cover copy on the back. You know what? I'm going to grab a book real quick and you're going to get to look at the back of my hair. Hold on. Okay, here we are back. So, mass market size, mass max size, trade paperback size. Usually what a small publisher size would be when they do print on demand. Okay, so now that we have covered that, basically what you're looking at with self-publishing is you can choose a number of different sizes. Right now I am doing 6x9 and I really am going to run and get a book, and my kid just walked across the screen, so wave if you see them. Hello. Okay, so self-published. So when we're talking blurb, that is going to be the copy on the back of the book that tells you about what the book is. Often they will also, if you're dealing with, you can choose to do this through self-publishing, or the publisher will do it for you if you're with a small or a traditional publisher, and that would be quotes on the back about previous books. If they've asked someone to read the book for you, like an author who has a bigger following than you do, and kind of get you into a place where their fans might look at your book. I know on Cremains of the Day, which is a first in series, they did have Lynn Cahoon, who is a New York Times bestseller down here. She blurbed the book, quoted the book, quoted for the book. You'll be cheering as the clues pile up in this creative, cozy mystery. So that can happen. But when you're self-publishing, which would be this one, you are going to need a cover of your own. You will write your own blurb back cover. You will have formatting that needs to be done to make your book pretty inside, and then you also need to make sure that you are like advertising on your own, making sure that people are aware that your book is out there. So with that, you can do it through a number of different companies. A lot of people do it through the Zong. They do have the setup to be able to just kind of put the pieces in there, and then you can publish it. They'll send you proof, which is this book, but with a "this is not for sale" across the top, and you check to make sure that everything looks nice inside. I will say that for my self-published books, I am having someone else format it. I have 3 critique partners as well as an editor and sometimes a second editor. My kid makes my beautiful covers, but they do charge me. So it's not like I'm getting them for free, which is fine because they're beautiful. And I believe that people who are doing work for you deserve to be paid for their work and then credited on the inside for the work. So that's self-publishing. Small press publishing is going to be, so I am with the Wild Rose Press, and the Wild Rose Press is a small publisher. They do romance, they do women's fiction, they do, I believe they do thrillers. I don't think they don't do young adult anymore. They did used to. They don't do children's books, but I would look them up, thewildrosepress.com. And so if you're going to submit to a small publisher or smaller publisher, look up their guidelines, please, and make sure that you're following them. So if they ask for a specific font, if they ask that you do double spacing as opposed to 1.5, do what they're asking you to do. I feel like if they're going to take the time to tell you how they would like your manuscript to come to them, please do that. So that is going to require you to do a query letter, and sometimes they either want the whole manuscript or they want the first 3 chapters, and then from the first 3 chapters they would ask for the full manuscript if they're interested, and that would then be contracted. And once they contract with you, you guys work together, and they often ask for, like, what are your ideas on the cover. I know for myself with the Wild Rose Press, I write the back blurb on my own, and then I send it to them, and then they run it through a committee who comes back with any recommendations. As far as covers go, when they ask you what you would like to see on the cover, they're definitely going to take that into consideration. However, they're also going to put in their industry savvy to know what kind of covers are currently selling. For instance, this is a cozy mystery. This, wrong side. This is also a cozy mystery. So right now, if you're looking at Amazon with current releases, cozy mystery, and some romances, there's a lot of cartoon kind of harder edges, I guess, going on, whereas before it was softer and a little whimsy. They're still absolutely putting out covers like this one, but I see a movement into, for instance, Girl with the Stars in Her Eyes by Zio Axelrod has more of a cartoonish cover. And so, and again, that's going to have to do with the genre. A thriller obviously is not probably going to have a cover that's a cartoon. If it's a mystery, yes, but if it's like a hard thriller, I'm going to say probably not. So definitely give in your ideas, but then be aware that they are industry professionals, and they are tapped into what is selling and what is making people buy right now from thumbnails. That's the other thing that you need to look at, is that you may have this amazing idea of this huge castle with like people hanging out the windows and dragons and things flying in the air, and that's going to be a little difficult because most people, especially if you're buying online, they see a tiny picture. And if your tiny picture is super convoluted, they're going to pass. I don't think it needs to be like a single object, but I definitely think that you at least want to listen to their ideas. I know with the Wild Rose Press, they definitely let me ask questions. But I've never had a cover that I don't love from them. So then we move on to the bigger publisher. Also with the smaller publisher, they do a lot to give you tools to sell your book. They are not always able to get your book into like brick and mortar stores, such as Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, but sometimes you can. Because they're available, you would need to ask what their policy on returns is. That's generally what Barnes & Noble is going to define whether or not they can get your books. But please, please, please do not ignore independent bookstores in your area. We have Cupboard Maker Books, we have the Mystery Bookstore, and they're both amazing at carrying more independent titles sometimes, and they have a different setup. Sometimes you're going to do consignment on books. Historically, I have found at this point that a lot of bookstores are doing like 60%, 40%. So if you want them to charge $10 for your book, they're going to pay you $6 for your book, and then they would make $4 from your book. So as you're pricing independently, independently published books, you want to make sure that you're going to make something, especially if you're paying editors and that kind of thing. You don't want to be making nothing. Although I know that can be really exciting, and it can be like, but if I price it really inexpensively, then a lot of people will buy it. That's not untrue, but if you're losing money every single time somebody buys your book, that can be a rough place to be. So then bigger publishers. So I have written for eHarlequin, which was a division of Harlequin that they were doing ebooks only. I had 2 shorter stories, novellas, I guess, out with them. One is Wicked Ink, the other is Protective Ink. They're both still available, but eHarlequin is no longer a thing. That was a lot of fun. Again, you get an editor. I sent in the manuscript. They requested the full. I did that. They gave me revisions. I did those. They gave me more revisions. We did copy editing, which I'll kind of explain some of that in a minute. And then they gave me an amazing cover that I made magnets out of, because it's one of the most stunning male backs that I have come across, with a very lovely tattoo. So those were gone pretty fast, and people, even though I think they were for 2017, I know people still have them on their refrigerator, even though 2017 was a little bit ago. It's whatever. So then Kensington is one of the big publishers, and they do have books in Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. I know independent bookstores also buy from them. I believe fill orders through Ingram Sparks, which is something to look into if you have questions about that. I don't know a ton, but I can certainly do some research and figure that out, or at least point you in the right direction. And so again, with Kensington, I sent them the first 100 pages and a synopsis, along with the query letter, because I had met my editor at a conference and she had requested material from me. Also, when you are submitting to publishers, please make sure whether or not you have to have an agent to do that, and follow their rules. So with the big publisher, you're gonna have a longer lead time, generally speaking. So with self-publishing, you can do it as soon as you want to. With smaller publishing, I would say that my time between turning in and getting a contract for a book and having the book come out is usually around 9 months or so. Kensington is closer to 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years. So you send in your stuff. They may come back and ask you to do something called an R&R, which is a revise and resubmit. So they would give you things that they would like to see different in your manuscript. You change those, you send it to them again. And if they feel like the changes are significant enough that they have now put your book in a place where they feel like it's close to being ready to put on a shelf, then they will go ahead and contract you for it. If you don't get a revise and resubmit and you get a rejection, I still very much think that you should, especially if they give you specifics, make sure you're reading through that. I mean, you can certainly shoot it the evil eye and kind of spit at it at first. Everybody does, and you're like, forget it. You don't know what you're talking about. But honestly, after that, if they have taken the time to give you feedback, take it seriously. It doesn't mean you have to change the manuscript. It doesn't mean you have to change the story. But someone has given their time to you to go over what they think would have made that book better and more marketable for them. I don't think that it's a bad thing to at least give it some time and give it a look and see whether or not it's something that you could do better, something that you want to change, something that you feel would increase the value of the book. So with a bigger publisher, you turn in the manuscript, they go over it, you get back edits, and usually they're bigger picture ones, like if they feel a scene needs to go, or if they want more conflict in your manuscript, or if they feel that something doesn't make sense, that's when that's fixed. Then you'll get copy edits, and copy edits are when they're also sometimes called line edits. Those would be where they're going through and they're changing individual words. If they think that somebody won't understand something, I tend to get those for things that are specific to Pennsylvania because I am a Pennsylvania girl and a California girl, but when I'm writing, a lot of times I'm more of a Pennsylvania girl. And so they'll ask, why is this here? Or they'll ask for clarification on certain phrases. They will change lie to lay. They'll make sure that your there, and theirs are the correct kind of there, and theirs. Commas come in, which I am the lack of comma queen. I joke with my editor from the Wild Rose Press that I really need to, buy her a new comma key because she uses it all the time. It's got to be worn out now. I mean, we've been doing this for 15 years. She either has a new keyboard or she's replaced it herself, but I have offered to replace it myself. And so at that point, then you would get what are called galleys. And I do get galleys also from the Wild Rose Press. Those come electronic. And basically what you're doing is you're going through and you're reading and you're looking for formatting to make sure that it looks nice, to make sure that, certain things haven't been lost in the translation. From Kensington, one time I got them electronic during the pandemic, but every other time I have gotten them, they print them out and send them to me in a big envelope, and I go through and I check for anything. Like in Cremains of the Day, it was really funny because every single time I had the phrase "I ran," they had pushed them together and it became Iran. And I'm like, yeah, that we should probably change that. And so they were able to. Once you get to the galley stage, though, they're not going to change huge things. I don't want to say anything is a hard and fast rule. I am going to say that normally they don't change huge things because they've already set it up to be X amount of pages. Which they also need to think about, and you would need to think about if you're self-publishing, so that there's the right amount of pages front and back. So they're going to change like word, if things have got smushed together, yes. If you find a glaring mistake, I'm sure that they would try to do that, but for the most part, you're looking it over to make sure that it's in good shape. And so that's kind of publishing. I mean, if you have any questions or anything, those are the avenues that I have taken. Those are the ones that I have experience with. Small, self, bigger. They've all been wonderful. They all have their beauties and their drawbacks. I do like writing my own back copy. And so that was kind of strange at Kensington to not do that anymore, but they've given me wonderful back copy, so I'm not going to complain about that. I have enjoyed very much these covers and talking them over with my kid and kind of seeing what's in my head come out on their iPad. And so, but I mean, it just depends on what you're willing to do and how long you want to wait and what exactly you would like your career to look like. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of those avenues. A lot of times with a bigger publisher, you would get an advance. And with an advance, what they do is they front you money that then you have to earn back with royalties. And royalties are going to be a percentage of the book that you get every time one is sold. And so with that, yes, you get the money up front, but you also have to pay it back before you start making any more money. With the small publisher, the Wild Rose Press, I don't get an advance, but then as soon as the book starts earning royalties, I start making money. So self-publishing, they pay you as soon as not as soon as someone buys the book, but they pay you, I think it's monthly as books sell. So but I believe currently for me with Amazon payments, I think they're 60 days after the end of the month that the book was sold in. So let's say that the book sold in January 16th. So 60 days after January 31st is when I would get paid for that. And so just some information for you on that one. And yeah, so that's it. I mean, I do have experience also writing dialogue for hidden object games. I love hidden object games, and I know that this is the Gabby Allen podcast, but if for some reason you like hidden object games, which I love them, and want to pop over to mistysimon.com under games by yours truly, I think is the tab. Orchid Games, who is out of Poland, has some absolutely stunning games that I absolutely adore playing. They also make beautiful solitaire games. So you play different levels of solitaire. That's actually how I got started, because I was asked to write a short story as a prize for winning the solitaire game. And then after that, he said, "Now, is there anybody who plays hidden object games?" And I, my hand shot up in the air. I was like, "Oh, yes, I do." My kid and I used to play them on the couch together like every Saturday. They're just a lot of fun. And my kid has a strangely awesome memory bank where I bet you if I put the game in front of them right now, they could probably tell you exactly where things were, which is awesome. But yeah, so we played a lot of hidden object games, and then I was super excited to be able to. I say that a lot. I'm super excited, but I am. So there you go. It was awesome, and I say that a lot too. To be able to be a part of putting a hidden object game together, and then I also got to play it while it was being built, and then we won the #1 Know Your Mobile award for the game. And one of the things that they also mentioned was how much they love the dialogue, so that was very cool. I like doing snappy, fun dialogue. So anyway, I'm gonna let you go here, and if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I will try really hard to answer as much as I can. I can't tell you that one kind of publishing is any better than any other kind of publishing. A lot of it depends on what you want and how you want to go about getting it, and then also what kind of stories you write. So comments. You can go to mistysimon.com if you want to look at games. You can go to gabbyallen.com if you want to look at the book that's coming out July 27th. I'm so excited. We're doing rom cozies. That's what we're calling them. Rom-com mixed with cozy, sitting on a beach, drinking a Mai Tai. I am super excited. Yes, again, super excited about these. And I really hope that you'll come along for Wit and Whiskers and their journey into driving a glass bottom boat and figuring out who done it. And then also recently, the Misty Simon, that's my real name because my mom is a Led Zeppelin fan. and if you get that, put it in the comments. And also, if you get my shirt, if you understand my shirt, I'd really like to know that you understand my shirt because I love this shirt. Anyway, so this Saturday, July 10th, I'm going to be signing at Cupboard Maker Books. We're cosplaying Ren Fair, and it's going to be a blast. But I have put the 3 novellas out since January under the Magically Suspicious Mysteries series. And what I did was I took all 3 of them and I put them into one book with a bonus short story called Winging It. So if you want one of those, come to a book signing. Are you in Central Pennsylvania? I would absolutely love to meet you. So anyway, that's what we're doing. Oh, and it's from 5 to 7 at night because, you could show up anytime you really want to. But if you want to meet me and have a book signed, 5 to 7 would be in your best interest. So I hope you have an amazing day, night, evening, whenever you're happening to watch this. And keep on writing. Let me know if you need anything. Let me know if you want to learn something and it's something that I can help with. I would be happy to do that. So see you later.